There's a lot on the line for Notre Dame football heading into the game against the Arkansas Razorbacks on the road. But let's get a little bit more specific. CJ Carr, Marcus Freeman, Chris Ash. Let's talk about what is on the line for each going into this weekend. Ryan Roberts from A to Z Sports breaking down everything Notre Dame football. Folks, we are in the midst of a very important week. Notre Dame travels down to Fayetteville, Arkansas to take on the Razorbacks, sitting with a 1-2 record for the Fighting Irish. This is a huge opportunity for Notre Dame to kick off what should be a really important 4-game stretch here. Obviously, you have Arkansas, you're going to have Boise State, NC State, and USC. Notre Dame needs to have a nice stretch here. And it's going to start with the defensive side of the football, but offensively continued growth as well for CJ Carr and their crew. And I want to talk about what's on the line for 3 people specifically, because anytime you lose, it's going to start with the lead man. It's going to start with head coach Marcus Freeman. And obviously, he's not anywhere close to a hot seat. A year after winning 14 football games and making the national championship, you are not on the hot seat after a 1-2 start. And even if you lose this weekend, you're not on the hot seat after a 1-3 start to the campaign. But ultimately, everything starts and ends with you. So I personally have full trust as of now in Coach Freeman and what he's going to do, continue to do with this program. But what's on the line for him this weekend? It's a huge game, man. It really is. Because if you think back to last year after the Northern Illinois debacle, you had a couple games right off the bat where you're like, okay, we're starting to feel good about ourselves now. You had Purdue. Miami, Ohio was not a great performance, but you still were able to win the football game by a considerable margin, and you started to feel better about yourself. Like you really did. This year has been a little bit different in the sense of you lose the first 2 games against Miami and Texas A&M. You roll into Purdue. Purdue's not very good, but you don't have a great performance against Purdue on both sides of the football. You win 56-30, but the defensive question marks have continued, which is ultimately going to be the Achilles heel for this team if they are not able to make a run. So you get that easy W at home. Now you go down to Fayetteville, Arkansas. This is not Miami, Ohio, right? This is a game against an SEC team, and although Arkansas is not a great SEC team, they are still a team that has SEC-level talent on both sides of the football at spots that Notre Dame could fall victim to, right? So you need to go down and have a huge performance as a coach to start to get that juice back into your program, for your players to start believing in what you did last year can be replicated. I think this is a huge game for Marcus Freeman. That intensity, that energy needs to be there from the first snap of the football. Want to go to CJ Carr, the only quarterback and only player that is included in this list, obviously, because there's not a lot on the line in terms of the long term, right? Like what we've seen from CJ Carr in the first 3 weeks, I think most people feel really good about the future of the Notre Dame signal caller. But it is still a really nice opportunity for CJ to prove, to kind of put his stamp on his surge as a really good quarterback in college football. You obviously have a little bit of a dumbed down play opportunity in game 1 against Miami. They were being a little bit safe with you. Texas A&M, they let you loose a little bit. You made some plays, even though you lost that football game. Then you really let it loose against Purdue, a bad football game. Are you able now to take that momentum that you built last week and show that, like, hey guys, this doesn't have to just be the Jeremiah Love show, and I'm an extension off of Jeremiah Love. I can be a guy that when my back is against the wall, when we're not doing well enough on both sides of the football or we have some problem areas, I can lead this football team and I can carry him potentially. So a big week for CJ Carr, not only to continue his own momentum, but continue to build that confidence around him from the players and the fan base ultimately. Perhaps the biggest question mark, or not perhaps, the biggest question mark is still defensive coordinator Chris Ash. You, after 3 games, have let up over 32 points per game. You've let up over 300 passing yards in back-to-back weeks against Texas A&M and against Purdue. The defense is in a bad spot right now, man. Like, it is not playing well. It looks slow. It looks like they're not in the proper position a lot of the time. It's not aggressive. There's a lot of things to be super negative about this defense. If Notre Dame is able to go down to Fayetteville against a team that is averaging over 43 points per game this year, and you're able to stifle Taylor Green, you're able to have a big performance defensively, then you start to feel good about, like, okay, maybe it was just a blip. Maybe it was just the rough part of the season. Maybe you can turn this around. But on the other side, if you do not, and it is a bad performance again by the Notre Dame defense, how long are we going to deal with this, right? And their questions have to continue to be answered and continue to be raised. You need to be able, if you're Chris Ash, to silence some doubters this weekend. I'm not very confident he will, but that is the hope, that he is able to get this defense turned around. Folks, in the chat right now, want to put some just general thoughts about CJ Carr, Marcus Freeman, Chris Ash, where you are with each of them. Is there another player that he didn't include, or another coach that he didn't include, that you were waiting to see something from them this week, either positively or negatively? Make sure that like and subscribe on your way out. And as always, go Irish.